I don't try to look too far ahead of about certain things. I just kind of try to stay in the moment. But I had a pretty good inkling based off of the reception off of season one that it could possibly go multiple seasons. So, but I don't try to make any kind of claims for that. I kind of leave it up to the universe to for it to happen. But it's been a wild ride to say the least. Yeah.
And Keon, as we know, the show is based in Toronto and Winnipeg. Are you a native of that area? And was this an opportunity that came your way by a talent agent, the audition process, or how did Keon Clarke arrive in SkyMed?
Well, I'm originally from Toronto, Ontario. I was born in Jamaica, but I grew up in Toronto. And I live in Vancouver, BC right now, so I took the audition while I was out here, and it was very interesting. I was actually preparing an audition for another for another audition, and I got the SkyMed audition, and my friend who was helping me, his name is Kareem Malcolm. He's also an actor, and I kind of looked at it and I was like, "Oh, can you help me out with this real quick?" But he was about to go, so I just took 15 minutes, just got as much of the lines as I could into my head, and I just kind of got up there and just let everything flow. Didn't think too much about it, and it was just off of one take, and I ended up getting a booking off of it. So I think it was sort of meant to be.
Sort of meant to be a spur of the moment. I suppose that's when you really can go as an actor in terms of that audition. I suppose do the whole improv thing where you're probably if you when you have to do it at a second moment in terms of that you're probably not overthinking it, dare I say. And sometimes when you overthink it, maybe that's probably not I wouldn't say a bad thing, but you can also hinder yourself as an
Oh,
actor.
100%, 100%. So I think like you're right exactly because I would have that problem when it would come to doing some of my tapes. But this particular audition, it was just the flow was just easy. I didn't think too much about it. I would just say the words, connect an emotion to it, and see whatever comes out. And I think the producers liked what they saw, and here we are.
Yeah, and Keon, for people that mightn't have seen the show or might want to catch up in season one and season two, can you tell us about the character you play on SkyMed?
Awesome. Sure. My character's name is Tristan Green. I play a paramedic slash nurse in the air ambulance situation that is SkyMed. My character is LGBTQ plus, prefer specifically gay, and I've never played a character like that before, and it wasn't really like a concern, but I was just more of like, all right, how do I make sure I portray this character in the best light that I can and also be as respectful as I can with this because we're all humans, and just because you have a certain sexuality doesn't negate your humanity. So what I try to do is just kind of put the character's sexuality out of like the
Focus.
focal point, and I just let myself be in that character. Like in the show they didn't really place too much emphasis on like, hey, everybody, these are the gay guys over here. It was just more of like a matter of fact, like, oh, this is these are our coworkers, these are their relationships, and it didn't the show didn't make a big deal of like making sure that we point that out. It was just more of like a natural human thing. It's just we're just humans and we have different sexualities. So yeah, outside of that, the getting to play a nurse was pretty fun because my mom was a nurse, so a lot of the terminology I knew already, but also sometimes some of the medical lingo get a little choppy and stuff like that. But after a while, it did get easier. But yeah, I guess that's all I could say about that. But it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and Keon, obviously the big star name attached to this series, and obviously he's a work colleague. He won't like you. I spoke to him last night, but Aaron Ashmore has done an awful lot in the business. He's relocated. He's a family man now. He's telling me he's settled very much in Canada as well. But he's almost like the daddy of the show in terms of leaning on advice for the cast members. And what is it like to have a accomplished star as your sort of, I wouldn't say as your focal point, but that has been on a hit TV series in the past that knows what it's like to work in that sort of grind as well. Is he someone that you can lean on at times in terms of advice still?
Obviously, like Aaron's been in the game for a long time. Him and his twin brother, they've been doing this, I believe, since they were children. Don't quote me on that. But Aaron's like he's a quote unquote typical chill guy. Like he's one of those people that when he's not unapproachable. You know how some people they give off an air of like unapproachability, but like he's super open and like if you need to talk to him about something, if he's got the time, like obviously, you can talk to him about anything, and he's just like a really genuine good person, and it just makes it working with him a lot easier.
And Keon, in season two, we had, dare I say, a big natural event, a natural sort of disaster, sort of survival sort of story where we saw the crash landing and the hunting, dare I say, the rescue attempt for the lost colleagues in terms of that. In terms of season three now, is it very sort of back to the complex relationships, nitty grind, or do we have big natural sort of storylines, big natural disasters, big massive backdrop scenes that we got in season two?
Without giving too much away for those who haven't seen it, because it's coming up, I believe, is it the 12th or the 15th for
The
you?
15th, the 15th.
For the 15th. I don't want to give too much away, but I would say this season focuses a little bit more on the relationships the characters have with each other. There's still a lot of action, a lot of, medical uh, drama situations, blood and whatnot. But I'd say this season focuses more on. I'm not saying that the show didn't have heart in the to begin with because it always had some heart. Let's just say there's more of a emphasis on focusing on like the heart of the relationships between all the characters this season for sure.
Yeah, and Keon, in terms of the scope, in terms of it's a growing audience, and I suppose we're talking about true life stories as well. This happens every day in sort of Canada, in parts of the wilderness. So this is not a fiction. It's not really make believe that there is. If people know the Canada and the geographic landscape of Canada, when people are in need, sometimes an airplane ambulance is the port to call in really critical situations as well. So, how important is it that you say true to those sorts of stories in terms of that, but also give yourself so much content to go forward with?
I guess in terms of staying true to that, like that's well, I can't speak for everyone else, but I like to do a little bit of like research. So the situation that is SkyMed with the air ambulance and the medics and the pilots, I do know a little bit in areas like that that people that work in the medical field tend to earn a little bit more money than the average person because of the location that they're placed. And then the pilots, I did some research before we started filming. The pilots are kind of, kind of just making ends meet. They're just trying to get their pick hours so they could move towards like more commercial airlines and kind of build their resumes up so they can become like airline pilots for like, I don't know if Air Island is that a thing? Air Island.
No, no, no. It'd be Ryanair would be the most famous airport airline in Ireland.
There we go, Ryanair. Like say like one of the pilots might apply and then they'd have enough like hours. True to life situations, you just kind of listen to the stories of like some of the people that have actually worked on the show, that have been like day players or just guest stars on the show. You talk to them and they have family members that live, a lot of them are indigenous, and they have family members that live in rural areas that it's very difficult to, if they need medical attention, to get to a hospital because of where they live. A lot of them live on reservations or just kind of deep into the woods, or I don't want to say into the woods, well, kind of, but areas where there's not too much civilization. So um, the importance of a team like SkyMed in real life is actually very important because if we didn't have something like that, then a lot of those people that live in certain areas like that would go untreated or underserviced. So I think the show does a good job of staying true to reality when it comes to that.
Yeah, and second last question, Keon, before I let you go. I spoke to Natasha about the difficulties of shooting scenes inside of an airplane and the sort of make believe. And I know sometimes that when you were shooting it, you were using real life props and a simulator and sort of stuff. But in terms of shooting those intimate airplane sort of scenes, where it's confined space, where you're trying to do justice for turbulence, for motion, all that is that so have been a new experience for you as an actor? And obviously, you're talking big budgets here in terms of that, trying to get it done in one or two takes with all the different cameras, lighting. Is it has it been something you've got used to? I imagine by now, but was it a whirlwind experience the first time you experienced it as an actor?
Well, specifically working in the set plane, it's a very cramped environment, and I'm not a small guy. I'm about 6'2", about like 205 pounds. So even if I did try to stand up, well, I'm not even joking. Like my back would be 100% 90 degrees to the roof. But it was after a while you kind of got used to like managing the space that you do have so you could fit the cameras in so we could get all the angles for all the shots that we need for like for example like you mentioned the turbulence or any type of other medical emergency that might be happening inside the plane so we could have a real feel to it because I don't know if you could tell with the cameras or maybe the way we shoot it makes it look like there's more room, but I'm telling you right now, there is not much room at all, especially for a guy like me. But I got used to it and yeah, it's become a lot easier. You just kind of have to learn how to manage your space and stretch when you can before you get in there because especially you have to do multiple takes and like sometimes we have to do turnarounds so like your joints get a little tight, so my biggest thing is just make sure I stretch my hips and my other limbs and whatnot just so I'm as comfortable as I can be in there for as long as we have to shoot in there, yeah.